I can remember I did a couple for him. I did a tag match there with Brookside and Colt Cabana. It's actually really. I've got it somewhere on tape. It's when they first started off doing stuff, and that's good. That I remember that, but I wasn't there when they didn't use me. Unfortunately, I don't know why. It could be something to do with the fact that I refused to do singles matches or something. I don't know.
Might be, yeah, might be. Was that their first ever show? Was it?
I think I did the first two.
Okay.
I did the first two, and I did my knack of doing what I used to do on shows, because I was in a tag the first time when I was supposed to be on with Cabana in a singles match, but somehow I got it changed to a tag match. And then the next one, I did a 6-man tag. It was dire. Mm-hmm. It was absolutely dire. I think it was me and two lads from Newcastle. God, what was he called? One of them landed right. Tony Sefton was in it.
Oh, Tony, yeah.
And he did like some move off the top and landed straight on this kid from Newcastle's face, and his nose just started bleeding everywhere. And Barry was there managing, charming Don Charles and everything. Oh my God, it was dire. It was so bad. It was funny on it. Oh, and Phil Powers was in it as well.
Oh, I'm sure Phil was there. Yeah. Phil did the ring,
he was a heel on the Blue Eye TV. Oh, it was dire. Mm-hmm. It was fucking terrible. It was terrible, absolutely terrible. I've got it somewhere. It's good for comedy relief nowadays.
I can imagine. Yeah, sounds good.
So these shows you promote, are you doing well with them? Are you?
Hit and miss. Yeah.
Well, I was the same. I hit and missed. I hit more than I missed though, so that was okay.
Yeah, I think we're probably about 60-40 maybe. We promoted some shows. We brought Bret over for Bret Hart for a weekend in September. Where we ran Southampton Guildhall, which is a venue I wrestled for Scott in, and hadn't actually wrestled there since. So nobody was running it at the time. We knew it was going to be expensive, but we knew we needed a big name to fill it. So we drew over 700 people. Again, genuine, no hyperhole. Is that the word?
Hyperbole.
Exaggerated attendance. We did really well with Bret. We ran Broxbourne the night before, and then we did a Q&A in Portsmouth the following on the Sunday. So it was a very expensive weekend, and who knows how well it did or how well it didn't. Always a bit too scared to find out.
Do you not work these things out?
Put it this way: we keep saying to each other, "We'll probably work that out next week. We'll work that out next week." Yeah, that was in September. So.
I had a week like that. That week that you did for me, that was an utter disaster for me. Yeah. Utter disaster. I think I lost about 12 grand. I think.
Cool. Yeah. See.
In a week. I remember that last one. Do you remember the last one we did on the 5th day? It was at Sheffield, and it was literally empty. Do you remember it? It was just...
I remember a lot about it. I remember some of them being okay. The Escape Centre?
That was good, yeah, that went well, but still the cost, the overhead, it was stupid of me. The overheads were so much that it didn't matter what we did. I needed 600 a show to break even, so it was a learning. When I come back and start my promotion off in a couple of years' time, I won't be doing that again.
No, I don't blame you. No, but saying that 600 a show, like Brian Dixon around that period probably was drawing 600 a shows. I appreciate. What is the difference? Like you put the work in, advertising. People knew the shows were happening. Was it? Yep. I think, this is probably a popular theory. Was people probably thought it was that shit TV show,
exactly,
in the Leeds Town Hall, not wrestling with the wrestlers from that shit TV show.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, I would completely agree with that theory, and it killed it. Absolutely killed it. So my brilliant idea went awry.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, did you say to me, or did someone say to me, that the plan was if these do well, we'll just literally just stay on the road, essentially? Like, if these sell out everywhere, we'll just keep going. You'll book more venues.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, logical. Yeah, I'd have done that without a doubt. We'd have carried on and bled it dry. Because the way I saw it was, for those that don't know, there was a TV show. It was called Celebrity Wrestling, and it had D'Lo Brown, it had Joe Legend, and it was on prime time Saturday night. And I was friends with D'Lo at the time, and he was telling me all about this show they were doing. And to me, it seemed like a touring X Factor. It was kind of like getting people to come and see singers with Simon Cowell and Louis Walsh judging it, because D'Lo was judging, and one of the coaches, and Joe Legend was the other, and we had both these guys on the show. And I thought it couldn't miss until I saw the show.
Yeah.
And the show was absolutely... Was you not doing test dummy for that or something?
I was, exactly that. I was a test dummy for it. And I think D'Lo even suggested they called it All-Star Combat, because it just was not wrestling. You know, it used that word, but there was nothing resembling pro wrestling apart from Roddy Piper as the presenter. Like, even D'Lo and Joe, you know, you think, well, do people know these guys are wrestlers? You know, sure, they look like wrestlers, but do people know they're wrestlers? But obviously Roddy Piper was, you know, somewhat of a household name. Beyond that, there was no real connection to pro wrestling at all, was it?
No, it was dreadful. I think it was on for 2 weeks, and then it got chucked into Sunday mornings at like 4 o'clock or something like that.
Sunday mornings, I remember.
Yeah. Well, they were the days. You know, I don't care. I say I don't regret it. I'd like the money back, but I don't regret it because you've got to try these things. If you don't try, you'll never know.
That's it. Like, we were talking, we said the same thing. You know, you do these things, and, you know, if you lose money, you lose money. That's a gamble you take every time you promote. But in 10 years' time, is it going to matter? Do you know what I mean? Like, you'll be over it by then. You know, obviously, if you put $500,000 into something, you're talking something slightly different, obviously. But, you know, you might look back in 10 years' time and go, yeah, but I had a good week. I had a good time. So maybe that was worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. You're kind of like the prototype British wrestler. You are a British wrestler. You go, you do these shows, whether there's 3 people there or whether there's 3,000 people there. You know, it's looking unlikely you're going to get signed by a major American wrestling company or go to Japan or anything. You don't make a great amount of money being a British wrestler. What makes you stick with it?
I'd be probably bored otherwise. You know, I'd be, you know. What makes me stick with it? I guess I still get a massive buzz out of doing it. And I certainly...
Are you waiting to be signed, or do you accept that's probably not going to happen and you just enjoy the wrestling side of it?
I've accepted that's not going to happen in a wrestling capacity, but I think... I don't sit there and dwell on this all day, but I think potentially there could be one day a position as a commentator. I really enjoy that, and the thought of being like the next Lord Alfred Hayes, I get a kick out of that, thinking I could do that.
See, I've never heard you do that. So you do that on Rev Pro?
I do that on Rev Pro, yeah. And again, it's just the odd Twitter tweet that says, "Oh, you know, enjoy the commentary, really good." You know, so I think, well, if I'm good at that, if that is my calling in life, you know, I can make a living doing that on a bigger stage. Yeah. It's no bumps, you know, like. Yeah, it's just so, I think, again, I'm 31 now, you know, I'm trying to have a baby, so, you know, I'm not talking in the near future, but that's a job you could do. I'm not suggesting WWE wants 60-year-old men because they're past that stage as well, but, you know, I think if I looked into that in 4 or 5 years' time, that might still be an option.
Yeah, you've got to keep hope for these things.
That's it, yeah.
And so while we're talking about that, you would have obviously been commentating or there. Do you record live or do you record afterwards?
Yeah, we record live. We did the whole thing totally, essentially on the fly. Oliver Bennett, he great guy. Some of you might not know him, but he's a real intelligent man, and he comes with all these notes and well prepared and well spoken and well educated young man. And I just come in and go, right, let's just blag the whole thing and, you know, let's just wing it and make it up as we go along. And, all I get is constant, praise is a bit strong, but you know what I mean? Like, you know, people say I do it right at it.
Praise is all right. Yeah. Praise is a good, that's all right.
Okay, yeah.
So, and speaking of praise, I've seen a lot of people talking about a match with Marty Scurll from Saturday night. So you'd have seen that one?
I was there, yes. I saw the whole thing. It made me sit there and think, I'm never going to wrestle a York Hall again. Just like, I just can't do it. I couldn't. Yeah. You know, and I don't think this is a bad thing, but my wrestling is pure pantomime. You know, good guy versus bad guy, which I found interesting in your conversation with Jody actually when you said the same sort of thing about how that should come around again. But watching that match it just blew my mind. I thought, like, these guys. And again, I normally don't like talking publicly about, like, spots and high spots and stuff, but, like, just the whole thing, I was like, I don't know how these guys put this thing together. Like, I wouldn't even know where to start.
No, exactly.
Yeah, and Marty put up a tweet earlier today with, just, like, from Dave Meltzer, you know, from your friend from the Wrestling Observer, put it over massive, and you think, well, if he liked it, he's seen every single wrestling match under the sun.
Exactly.
So, they must be doing something right, and I'm sure that...
I saw Marty. He's going to come on the show at some point. He always blags me off, but I saw him when he was really skinny little kid working for Ricky Knight, and even then I said to him, I said, he's really good, he is. He had a really good... reaction with the crowd, and he did some fancy little moves and things, and obviously he's changed his style completely, but he does seem to have it off, and so many people that I've told me about this Will Ospreay, I've never seen him, but he certainly sounds to be the one to watch at the minute.
Oh, he is, yeah, definitely. Like he for those Rev Pro shows, and even for the the family shows as well, he's just perfect. Like he's good. He's a good baby face. Does some cool moves, good seller, everything. Like. Really spot on. And if both those guys, and Marty's my best friend actually, he's going to be my best man at my wedding, but I wouldn't be surprised, I'd be amazed if those two weren't signed by WWE in the next 12 months.
Yes, yeah. But that one thing that you just said from Meltzer, all the wrestlers, even if they say they don't, all the wrestlers in WWE will read that, they'll know that as well. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't signed.
Yeah. It must be a little bit annoying. Yeah.
What about me? Yeah. What about Simmonz?
That's what I needed to do, learn to wrestle like that. Yeah. See, my problem was I'm 5'6", like legit. My mum's 4'10", so that's why I'm so short. And but I'm 5'8" in my boots. So I tell people I'm 5'10", and all I want to do is wrestle like the British Bulldog. Rather than I should have wrestled like a guy who's 5'6". So that's where I went wrong.
That's where people used to give me grief. Yeah, Johnny Storm used to tell that to me. He used to say, "You wrestle like a heavyweight." So I'm a heavyweight compared to you.
Compared to you,
Johnny. Right. Okay. So you've been wrestling 15 years now. Yep. Best match you've ever had?
Best match I've ever had. I'm trying to think of something current rather than say...
That's a difficult one, isn't it? It's a difficult one.
Like this probably won't impress too many people, but I have some wicked matches with Marty on the holiday camps. Yep. Yeah, me and Marty wrestled each other probably 50 times this summer, if not more. And they're probably not his favourite matches by any means, but as I said, I like Cowboys and Indians wrestling. And
Me too.
And the heat you can get off these people, and I see Facebook statuses sometimes from people that have never worked for Brian Dixon or worked for All Star or worked the holiday camp circuit, and they sort of slag it off as if it's like a detriment to the business. But Ricky Knight said I think he said this. He said with the best advert we have for the halls are the holiday camps. People go to the holiday camp wrestling because they have to, because they've got nothing else to do, and then they go, cool, that was actually really quite good, maybe we'll go watch some hall shows, and that's where obviously the wrestlers, or the promoters anyway, make their money. So I think the point I'm making is, that kind of wrestling to me, it doesn't have to be lazy or silly or, stupid stuff. I love working those shows, and probably I'll say Rockley Park on the 12th of August 2015, me and Marty Skrull was my favourite match I've ever had.
But that's the thing. The problem is that if British wrestling was to get looked at, to get put back on proper telly, I think it's easy to get on telly now. It's to get put back on proper telly. Yeah. The matches of the good guys and the bad guys and the Cowboys and Indians will impress a TV man more than Marty Skrull and Will Ospreay will, I think. A good villain and a good face is at the end of the day what wrestling is.
Yeah, I think it'll always come back to the characters.
Absolutely.
A bit more personality, a little less substance.
Absolutely. Yeah. Best British wrestler at the moment on the scene.
Again, this will. I swear, Johnny Storm is still one of the best guys ever.
Absolutely.
Again, going back to conversation I had with Jody, I'm amazed Johnny didn't get picked up by the WWE. I appreciate Johnny never was one to fancy working out or anything or eat properly, or but if he had, I really think he'd have.
Yeah, I think that's his only.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I take the mick out of him for that all the time. I was like, you should have made some good money by now.
I asked him that. I don't know if you've heard his podcast, but I said to him, I said, "Why are you here? why are you in Grimsby on a Friday night?" And he seemed happy with his lot, but again, I think he could have. Like you say, I think if he'd have worked out and eaten properly and everything else, that would have definitely helped his cause, because talent-wise, he still is
one
absolutely
of the best.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm sure there's other guys, I could say Marty, I could say Will, I could say Big Damo. But everyone says them, so I just wanted to say someone different.
No, I agree with you. Yeah. And he's old man now, isn't he? My age.
Who's Johnny?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
He's getting on a bit now. He must be 51, 52 now. He's getting.
He's still the Wonder Kid.
He's still the Wonder Kid. But he still looks 20.
He does.
Bastard.
Yeah.